Willie D Live.
So did Bernard ever give you a reason why he didn't want to run it back?
I don't think it was in. I don't think he had a. I don't think he had control of that, bro. For real, for real. I don't think he had no control over that.
Man, how frustrating is it when you are training for a fight and the fight is like right around the corner and you get sidelined by an injury, whether you or your opponent gets sidelined by an injury, and you got to hit the reset button, or maybe you know, maybe postpone the fight or find another fighter.
That's tough, depending on what situation it is, because you expecting things, you depending on things. It could be tough, bro.
Counting that money.
Counting up, yeah, and you know, you budgeting. You feel me? So
Yeah.
it can be detrimental for sure, detrimental to anybody. You know what I mean? And you disappointed, you know, let down, you know, you feeling rejected, but it depends on the reason. It depends on the reason. Sometimes injuries happen, bro, and you can't do nothing about it. Because, you know, you get older, you know. I went in fights sometime with injured to the point where I didn't know how I was going to perform.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, when you get in there, that adrenaline start running and you start thinking about everything and you find a way. You know what I mean? And Jonathan Banks was one of those fights, bro. I didn't know how we was going to perform in that fight because we had the training camp from hell. Just cut my hand right there, needed stitches. And then
How'd you cut your hand?
messing around in Saint, playing around accidentally. Yeah, it's crazy. Then had an ankle injury at the time. And man, it was just hard to run, but I didn't stop trying. So I think that mentally helped me in the fight. It's my one of my heavyweights fights, so I didn't have to lose weight. Thank God. I think that's the only thing that saved me. If I would have had to lose weight or make a certain weight, I probably wouldn't have been able to accept that fight. But since it was heavyweight, you know what I mean? Uh, yeah, I didn't have to kill myself to make weight or anything. So I just trained on my technique and everything. I ran, but it took me about a quarter mile to get a gate to finish the 3 miles. So I was always in pain that whole camp and didn't really know how I would fight. And I still knocked him out in the 9th round. And I think it was one of my better performances at heavyweight division, which I was undefeated at the heavyweight division, bro. And for whatever reason, I never got a championship shot, never got a title shot. And I felt bad about that. I felt like on any given day, I could have beat anybody. And not having a chance to prove that kind of like was a bitter sweet pill. And I retired just after 2015. I just say, bro, because it took me like 2 years. I was trying to get fights, training for fights that was supposed to happen, that didn't happen, guys pulling out. I'm like, bro, I just say, man, let me just start doing something else, bro. So took my time, relaxed, was enjoying retirement for a while until I just like I said, I was noticing that they weren't really calling the fights right from what I was seeing. It was like a lot was missing. So I said, man, let me get out there in the podcast world. Let me start with Tarver's Take. Let me pick this mic up and see what happened. I started breaking down these fights. You know, before the big fights are happening, I'll break them down first and give my opinion and take on what I'm seeing. And, you know, people started tuning in, dialing in, and, you know, giving their support and testimony, I would call it. It was giving their testimony on my YouTube channel. So reading those testimonies, bro, really kept me going.